Here we are again. It's another Friday Focus, careers in sport with Mr. Mike Ward from Charlton in the community. Hi, Mike. How you doing? You all right?
I'm good, Colin. How are you, mate? You been well?
Oh, decent. You know what I mean? So, just living the dream, living the SCL dream. My own career in sport is fantastic, as I'm sure yours is too. So, Michael, I'm sure that all the students at Charlton in the community are going to know who you are. Tutors at Charlton in the community are going to know who you are. So, I don't know who you are. Well, I do a little bit because we've had a little bit of chat. I know a bit about you. Yeah, about all the New Zealand adventure and everything else. So, Michael, listen, you don't have to be bashful. Tell us, who are you? Who are you?
So Mike Ward, I'm head of football and sports development at Charlton Athletic Community Trust. I was a failed footballer as a late teenager. I kind of knew that early on, was told some home truths by friends and family that I weren't really going to make it. So I made focus my kind of career option from an early age, studied sport, leisure and tourism and PE at school in sixth form. There wasn't BTECs around. I'm 36, so 20 years ago, these type of courses that we now deliver weren't around. Otherwise, it would have been my career, my course of choice, of course. And then, just thankfully enough, I've managed to forge a bit of a career in sports development, football coaching. I've travelled the world. I've now kind of come home and I've settled in an area that I've kind of grown up in, still managing and working for a club that it's not my number one team. There is another team.
Arsenal are. I know that. Arsenal are.
Not a chance. I will hang up. But no, look, Charlton have always been that second team, and it's great to be back there. And obviously, as a community trust, we're forefront in what's going on in the community across the country, and we have been for the last 27 years. So it's great place I work, and I've been very lucky in what I've been able to do in my career.
Brilliant, mate. That's brilliant, especially the whole stuff about your clubs and who you support. Because I know if I'd have known, I'd have worn my Arsenal shirt for this one. I really done, because I think it'd have been good start. So I think one of the things, especially for our learners, is that all of our learners are where we were. Some of us a lot longer ago than others, but that's fine. We'll cross that bridge another time. But you know what I mean? Is there's that point in your life where you go, do you know what? Perhaps I'm not going to make it and break into this upper echelon of my sport. And that's where the best people, the people want to succeed and move on, they've got to open their eyes and look at their plan Bs, their plan Cs and their plan Ds. So when you were like, 15, 16, what did you want to do? What did you want to be?
I wanted to be a footballer, like any 15, 16-year-old wanted to be. I was playing Kent Youth League. I live in Kent, so I was playing for Ashford at the time. I'd been training with the reserves at 15, getting, managers were saying I was a decent centre forward. But I had one trial, went to Southampton as a 15-year-old to trial. Gordon Strachan was the manager at the time. And I was nowhere near it. And they were honest with me and they said, look, you're miles off this level. I was, quite a heavy set lad anyway. And I always kind of was. But you got to get fitter, stronger, but there's a decent player in there. So I kind of went away and decided to work hard. But at the same time, I was lucky in that my dad was managing my younger brother's team. He said, come and help me coach. I need a coach. And I didn't have any badges, so I started coaching and really enjoyed it. At the time, and it's funny how things go full circle, my dad worked for Network Rail. They were doing some community work with Charlton in the community. And I think, a little bit on the side, my dad went, can my boy jump on one of your level ones? So I went on a level 1 at 16. I'd done my level 2 by the time I was 17, B licence by the time I was 20, because I just got the bug. But I carried on playing, The plans were to try and go out to America. I had a couple of offers, but I broke my leg playing for Kent schools. So my offers got pulled, and then I was too old to get a scholarship because my A levels weren't up to the grades. So I had to pay. And in the end, coaching just kind of kept fitting. I just kept coaching. And before I know it, I was working, full time for Charlton at the age of 21, running programs down in Kent, in Ashford, Folkestone, Dover. So, that was kind of a whirlwind 5 years that I thought I was going to be a player. But before you know it, I'm playing non-league and I'm picking up 30, 40, 50 quid a week. But I kind of knew, well, actually, I'm not. I've got to try and find a way to forge a career now as a coach or a sports development, more football development, that kind of side.
Yeah, cause I guess if that's it, I guess for you, it's like what you wanted was a job, well, you wanted a career and a life in sport. And that's the thing with a lot of our lads and a lot of the girls that come on our programs. All of us go, this is my passion, because it's easy to go to work when work is your passion, isn't it? That's a big thing. So, you go back then and say, like, you're 15, 16, like you probably would have been one of our learners on our program, if this program had existed. And then you've gone through, you've done up to you're like 21, 22, you've been coaching for Charlton at that point. Then where's your journey taking you? So your journey through sport to get you right here, right now, where'd your journey take you?
It was a bit of a like I was young, I was enjoying, you know, I was 21, 22, I was enjoying what I was doing. Again, that kind of lifestyle of being a coach was good. So I was in the game some Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I really enjoyed what I do, and then I was playing decent football at the weekend. But I knew that I wanted to add more to what my coaching was doing. So I actually applied and got a job with Hampshire FA, and I wanted to move and travel a little bit. Like I'd always lived in Kent, so I literally just applied for this job, went for the interview, didn't really think much of it, but got it. And that was more office based and behind a laptop and managing coaches rather than coaching myself, and going out and quality assuring and managing programs like we do now. And, you know, Hampshire FA are actually working with SCL now and delivering a program down in Southampton. And I've been chatting with old colleagues of mine because they know I've worked with you guys for, you know, about 8 years now. So I worked there for 3 years. And that was, like I said, a completely different way of football development. It wasn't just coaching now. It was now understanding budgets and plans and relationship building and meetings. And that's kind of how I look at that trip, that little 2.5 years, 3 years that I worked there as massive, because I probably wouldn't have got the job I got now, because I can coach and I can see a good session, I can see a good player. But actually that development side was pretty key. And to be fair, if I hadn't gone to Hampshire FA, I wouldn't have gone to New Zealand. So
right, okay.
I got the job.
So your coaching took you over to New Zealand after Hampshire FA?
Yeah, so I was sat at my desk, and we used to work till 5:15. It was very strict. You couldn't leave till 5:15, compared to Charlton, where I can kind of rock out at 3 o'clock and answer emails on the phone and stuff.
That's the best jobs.
Hopefully my gaffer won't see this and I'll be all right. So I was literally last 15 just scrolling on the internet, and something popped up saying work in New Zealand, and my fiance at the time, now wife, had travelled and to New Zealand. So I sent her the link. I just applied for a job with Southampton in the academy and not got it, because they said I didn't have enough experience working with higher level boys or high level elite players. So she just sent my CV off without telling me.
No way.
Yeah, she said, and then so this was in the October. I moved out there in January. So literally I did interviews like this. I was wearing a tie, but with like shorts and socks on underneath. Did a couple of interviews, and then just went out there and moved to the Eastern Bay of Plenty. We had a 1-year contract, and we ended up staying for 3 years. It was unbelievable.
Mate.
Lifestyle,
Brilliant.
coaching, but different. You know, out there, I went out there as this mad Englishman who loved football. They all loved the EPL. Like, they'd all stay up till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to watch games. Loads of Liverpool fans. Liverpool was the team in the area I lived in. But it was rugby. Like, I had 3 or 4 boys that were international at national camps.
Yeah.
But if they had a choice between rugby and football, they'd play rugby, even if they were only like district standard or town standard rugby players. So it was a real hard job to try and convince these elite players to focus on their football, but also a community that was very much like, well, we play soccer. That's all they called it, soccer. Like, we play soccer from April till September, and then from September to March, it's cricket, touch. Yes, football's a 4-month, 5-month season. So, and I had to obviously make it a year-long season. So it was loads of beach football, futsal.
Yeah. It's a massive variety for you then.
Yeah, my golf game got pretty good though. So
that's the best part about going over there, is you've gone away, you come back and go, hey, my golf's good because I've got 4 months. And that's a dream job. Work for 4 months of the year, have the other 8 off.
Look, in my head, you'd say that, but you had to keep it. And the thing is, look, it was all about lifestyle out there. And I think, do you know what? I was chatting to a pal the other day, and I was talking about this situation we're in now, about the pandemic, and the way that people are a little bit more relaxed maybe about their work. And, you know, meetings now are not taking like an hour and a half. You know, you're just doing a 20-minute Zoom call and you're getting the meeting done and you're moving on. Out there, like that. I remember my first day in the job, I'm in the office, or the first week, it's a Wednesday, and I'm typing away and there's no one around me. And suddenly this guy, George, come in, big Maori guy, he run the rugby league, and he became a real good pal of mine. And he was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working. He like, mate, there's a king tide. Everyone's at the beach. So I literally phoned up my fiance wife now, went, everyone's at the beach. They taught me to surf. The schools were down there. Because this king tide had come in, the surf was up. The beaches were just, well, they were packed, but they weren't as packed as we see our beaches because there weren't as many people. And people just surfed all day. So I phoned up my boss a bit like, oh, I'm really sorry. Like, today he went, mate, I've done the same. He's like,
no way.
Different lifestyle. You know, everyone was just not, and it kind of, again, helped with my work and my career in sport, that there's always something that's a little bit more important. You know, we don't work in War and Peace. We work in football and sport. And yes, for our learners, that 16 to 18 is a big step for them, and they've got to choose the right course and the right centre, the right coaches, environment. I get all that. But actually, for us that's working in it, you know, we can take a step back and just go, right, relax. Is it, you know, it's not war and peace. It's not life and death. It's just getting the right facts across. And if a kid or a player chooses to go to another centre, or if a player chooses to go to another club, then that's got to be the right choice for him. We're not, you know, we'll just make sure we give the best experience to who we've got. And hopefully that mantra's kind of fallen into some of the staff I now manage. They're a little bit more relaxed around some of the stuff. Look, there's still things that test you. Of course there are, you know, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing, is this has been a test in time, and it's been a unique time and a test in time. But what's really good, I think that a lot of people have managed to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and go, do you know what? I don't need to be traveling all the time. I don't need to be doing this all the time. I can actually look at what's best and get a better balance in what's going on in life. And that's decent.
I think the word that springs to mind is trust. People, you know, we've been very fortunate as a community trust because we're quite we support, you know, we are a community trust. So what we've done is we've gone out and supported the community of Greenwich, our community. We're in Greenwich. We've gone out and done shops for the vulnerable, taken phone calls. So my team are working on that, but I've had to just trust that they're doing their job. I can't see them day to day now. Yeah, we speak every other day still, and we have teams meetings and bits and pieces. But my boss is trusted I'm getting on with it. His boss is trusted. So there's that trust now. That's made everyone just a little bit more relaxed. And I'm actually seeing some of the best work coming out of my department now in terms of our, like the stuff we've got planned for, if we can, touch wood, get out on the grass in a few weeks, you know, once we've gone through the health and safety and the guidelines and that is great. You know, we've put on some really good sessions. I've spoke to new coaches who want to come and get on board next year because they see that we're growing at the training ground. I've spoke to other clubs about new sites in and around Kent to offer.
Marvellous, brilliant.
You know, we've been really able to be proactive in this time, and that's just because we're being trusted to get on with it. We're not being like, whereas if we was in the office, it's like, well, where have you been for an hour? Oh, well, been out and about doing beach. You know, so it's and again, that kind of going back to New Zealand, that remote learning. Like my boss, to get to my boss in New Zealand, I had to get on a plane.
No way.
It was a 5-hour drive. So we were using Skype back in early 2011. I moved out there. We'd have Skype meetings, but we'd meet chat on a Monday and we'd chat on a Friday. You just had to trust that I weren't on the you know.
Oh man, that's brilliant, isn't it? And but that's what gets the most out of people in work, isn't it? That ability to get on with work, and also knowing that the right person's there to actually go, I'm going to work as hard as I can and do the best job that I can possibly do. Definitely. So we talk about heroes and mentors and stuff, and you've probably seen in my other interviews, I always ask this question, which one is it then? So Messi or Ronaldo? Who's the best one for you?
Ronaldo for me. Quite quick. We've had this debate a lot in pubs and stuff. The reason is I think the fact he's done it in a number of leagues.
Yeah.
And because I'm biased and I think the Premier League is the best league and he came and ripped it up there, you can't deny Messi, you know, is unbelievable. But the fact as well that Portugal have won major honours, Argentina haven't, I think that kind of proves that, and you know, that Portugal have won Euros when they were poor 1 to 10. It was just their number was world class. So I would always go Ronaldo. I'm sure Pete, you know, and again, it's that debate. You can sit there and
see. This is I'm always going to go Messi, right? And this is Arsenal and Tottenham. Here we go. So
yeah.
But then I always say to people, who would you rather have in your team? Ronaldo. And I know. Would you?
Yeah.
Nah. I'll let you off. I mean, you're Tottenham, so we're going to let it go. But I like it. So that's all right.
No. Look, I mean, I get the Messi. Look, there's not a Messi argument because he is probably, and I think he had a period. I think he had a period for 3 or 4 years where he was the best we've ever seen. Yeah. And that would probably be my thing. I think he's the best I've ever seen. I mean, I still remember Zidane for a couple of years, and he was around 98, 2000. He was as good, you know. And there's some clips coming out now, you know, little bits that he's doing, these ball manipulation, his awareness of his space. You know, Zidane was unbelievable. But I think that Messi had 4 years where he was the best we've ever seen, but Ronaldo's had 12 years where he's been as good and then better. And I just think that longevity, and he's still going.
Yeah, he's still going. And his training works so hard. Yeah, works so hard.
He's the same age as me, and he's jumping 12 foot in the air to head the ball. I struggle.
He looks a lot older, mate. He looks a lot older. He must have had a hard paper round. That's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing.
Oh, definitely.
So have you got a hero in sport or somebody who maybe has been there like as a bit of a mentor for you and gone, you know what, Michael, here is here's your pathways, here's what you can do, and here's your ways forward? Is there a hero?
Yeah, look, work-wise, I've always tried to tag onto someone above me. So whenever I've got a job, or I've always looked at who's maybe not the step ahead of me, but 2 steps ahead, and then tried to just pick at their brains. I had a really good mentor out in New Zealand, who was like a national coach. He was an ex-pro over here, and that was with my coach, and he was a really fantastic coach. He'd gone over there and he was working with the 17s and the 20s, and he really spent a lot of time with me. Again, there was a lot of distance because he lived Auckland, I lived out on the East Coast, but we did a lot of Skype calls and video sessions at the time as best we could with the technology. But yeah, I mean, look, life mentors, definitely my old man. He's been through a lot and he's succeeded. So you always kind of look up to people like that. But I always try and tag on to someone within my organisation. What I've done now to kind of, I've got into reading a little bit more as I've got older. And I kind of, reading not just football books or autobiographies by sports people, but books on business and life and things like that. And, it's that kind of circling yourselves with the right type of people. And I've tried to do that as well. So, yeah. I wouldn't say it's just one person. I would say I'll try and have a few people. So if there is something I want to talk coaching, I'll pick up. He actually lives around the corner from you. A friend of mine who's a coach, A license. I'll pick up the phone to him and go, I'm trying to do this session. What do you think? If it's work-wise, I'll probably speak to our chief exec, or I might even call someone in a previous role, because if I want to keep it a bit, I'm trying something, or I've got in trouble out of it, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think I've always tried to do that. And luckily, I've been lucky that people will pick the phone up or answer the phone to me. They won't go, it's Mike.
Yeah.
It always seems to get answered, which is, I take as a bit of a compliment.
That's decent. Speaking of books, is a really good one. I recommend to you. The guy's been on here. His name's Steve Salis, and he wrote Educating Football.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Is that a lot of his stuff is basically like that. And he says there's one thing, and I always take from it. He goes, will your future self thank your present self? So, in the future, the decisions you make, are you going to say, thank you for that? It was the right decision back then. When you do like stupid, people, like you said, we're all young. We enjoyed ourselves when we were 2021. But will you thank yourself for it later down the road? And that's a really good way of living too. I recommend that book. It's a good one to read.
I've met Steve a couple of times through non-league football when we were coaching different teams. He's a good guy. I haven't read his book. I know a few that have, and they've recommended it as well. I think that's one of the things we try and say to our students. When we have our open evenings, we try and do things the right way with you guys, in that we get them in at the Valley, or we in at the training ground. We show them our great facilities, but then we also say, look, before we even see you kick a ball, let's make sure that at 15, 16, which is nothing age, I've lived your life nearly twice. You've got so much more to give, that you're making the right decision, and that when you're 18 or 19 and you're thinking about uni, you think back 3 years ago, I'm glad I did that course. And we've had parents say to us, thanks, because he really wants to do this, but also he's thinking about, wants to be an engineer. I always say, if you want to be a vet, an engineer, a banker, don't do this course. You may love football, but you can still play football on an evening and a weekend. But if you want to work in sport, if you want to listen to some old fella like me or other people chat about what they've done in sports, because I did sport courses, and I would look back at 16-year-old Mike and say, good choice, doing A-level PE, leisure and tourism, which was basically they wasn't a BTEC sport then. I wouldn't say well done to 19-year-old Mike, because I should have gone to university, and I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I had the job. So Charlton are basically like, look, we'll give you a full-time job, coach for us. Here's a van, here's a decent salary. I could move out, and I was like, right, I'd do that. I wish I'd gone to uni and done that. But, it's taken me longer to get where I've got to, but I've got here, so it's all right.
That's this. You say about the whole thing about the courses, though, and I always tell people is that I remember probably the best football I ever saw at Bournemouth, and was a girl. Head and shoulders above all the boys. So if any of the boys watch this when we put it out, honestly, this girl was better than any of you have ever been. She had loads of opportunities to play football, but actually what she did, she decided to go to university and study law. She's just finished her master's degree in law. How about that? I mean, she's gone through this system. I mean, that's same courses as your students do. Just go through it. And but sometimes that's the way.
That's someone knowing their pathway and knowing, and it's difficult because, I look at our boys at 16, 17 and think to be fair, we just had a lad who's leaving our program this year. He's done his 1 year, could have stayed for another, and he's like, I want to join the police force.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm not, I can play football, but he knows what he wants to do. And we've helped him on that journey. We've introduced him to the right people. Because of what we do in our local community, we've able to introduce him to some members of the police force, and they've kind of had one-to-ones with him, a bit of mentoring going on there. So, but that's, again, he's clear in his mind at 18 what he wants to do. Some are not.
Fair play to him.
Some are not, So I guess the only thing I would say, if there are students watching it, I hope there are students watching this and I've bored them, they've turned off. But take the advice you're getting from your coaches and your tutors. They're not trying to, if they're saying you're not good enough to be a pro, they're not trying to be difficult. They're not trying to wind you up. They're not trying to be horrible. They're just trying to say to you, right, now's the time when, yes, you could do a Jamie Vardy, get into non-league football, bang in 50 goals and get a move. That can always happen. But actually, what are you going to do next year? Because you're not going to play professional football next year,
Yes.
So we're lucky, like in our program, we play our academy at the start of the year. So we pick our best 16 and we play a game against the academy, watched by the academy director, head of recruitment. So if they're good enough, they'll get a trial. And we had one lad this year that then went in October, trialed for a week. We're hoping they're going to, because he was a U17 training with the 19s. We're hoping they're going to have another look. He's had a good year with us. But so there's no like, but I should be in a, well, you've had a trial, you've played.
Yeah.
And the guys and Steve Avery, has been doing it for 30 years, has said, sorry, mate, you're not good enough yet. So let's work and get you there. So we try and dispel that myth early on, but that's not to say there isn't. We've had Anna Lookman, not part of our academy, but played in a football academy local to us, signed for Charlton at 17. He's now out in Germany via Everton. Yeah. He'll be a millionaire. So it can happen.
It can happen.
1-2 cases in 1,000.
But it's always good. Like I said, when I was at Bournemouth at the academy down there, is that one of the things I always try to get across to the players is that it's all having that, but you need to have the academic and you need to have your plan B, your plan C, and your plan D just ready to go. This is where I'm going to go, and this is what I'm going to do. So for those of you who don't know, so yourself at Charlton Community. Now I've asked this, and people go, there is no such thing. Is there such thing for you as an average day? And if there is, what's your average day like? Everybody laughs when I say that. That's like me working for SCL. Cole, what's your average day? And I just go, I don't know, mate. Just get up.
Like if people in the office are watching this, they'll say I'm lying. Again, look, because I run the department, I'm very much like, from 1 minute I could be watching a coach and offering him some feedback and guidance on her, him and her, and how they can improve their coaching. I could be sat in with a head teacher talking about what we deliver in primary schools and about our Premier League projects and stuff. I could be sitting down and disciplining a student, or even taking a session if I want to get involved. So yeah, I mean, look, and that's again why I pursued this career. I had a few, and again, going back to 25-year-old Mike, do I go to New Zealand or do I stick doing what I'm doing? When I came back from New Zealand, struggled to get work. I had 3 interviews for jobs at Chelsea. So if they're watching this, you missed out. Well, I mean, I applied for 3 jobs. I only interviewed for 1, but ended up and started looking at the railway because my dad had worked there, my brother works there, signaller, train driver, and I was like, well, do I stick with it? And the reason I stuck with it was not because the money's amazing. The money's, the Premier League players are amazing. Us, the community, we earn decent for what we do, but not amazing. Was because every day is different.
Yeah.
And you don't know. And to be fair, the worst thing about this pandemic is everything's becoming a little bit samey for me. So that's why I still do. Like yesterday, I was out doing pharmacy drops for the vulnerable in Greenwich, just because I want to get out and just see different people and, keep my distance, stick to the guidelines, but keep my job different, because sat at home waiting for emails to come in or trying to engineer meetings isn't me. I'm very much, I'm reactive to stuff.
To do something, yeah. Get it. So young people, the 16, 17-year-olds is going to be watching this. So is there like a sentence or like a few words just to go, here's my advice to you if you want to start on your career in sport? What's the biggest, the words of Michael Ward's words of wisdom, we'll call it? How about
that? My dad, and I've always lived by this, my old man gave me this, never say no straight away. So never just go, no, not doing that, because it's either too hard, or you think you can't do it, or it's beneath you. Take a moment, think about it. I'm not saying say yes. Not there's that book in there that Jim Carrey turned into a film. Say yes. Never, sometimes you ain't got to say yes to everything. But my dad was very successful within Network Rail, and it's a big industry, and he got to the top. And I said to him, how? And he said, because whenever I got offered a job, I never said no straight away. I looked at it and thought, can I make it better? And if I can make it better, I'll say yes, because it's going to add to my reputation and build me up. So I've always done that. I've never, like New Zealand, The missus sends off the application. They asked me for an interview. I could have gone, no, I'm not moving to New Zealand.
Yeah.
If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have had the best 3 years of my life. I wouldn't have probably got married, because we went out there and we did it all out there and that. So it's, I think never say no, take a moment, think about it, and then see, because it could be, we've had students year one, I ain't going to uni. We work with the University of Greenwich because they're on our doorstep. They come in, they do 6 tutorials throughout the year. They go get a tour of the campus. Second year, they study at the university. We have a classroom on the university.
Oh, wow.
By the end of it, they go, oh, I'm going to go to university. You said no in September last year. Oh, well, it's amazing, isn't it? But they might not go Greenwich. They might go Loughborough or wherever. They might go and travel a little bit. So
aren't they the best kids, though? Those kids have gone through, you get at the beginning of the 2-year period, they come to you and go, I don't really know what I want to do. I don't know what to do, Carl. I don't know what to do. And then afterwards, they've never thought about uni. Maybe nobody in their family's ever going to university. And all of a sudden you're going, you know what, see you later. 2 years down the road, they're off to university. And then you stay in touch, you see where they go, and you see them coming out with their degrees and getting onto successful careers. And that's one of the best parts about my job and your job, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, look, probably I definitely agree from that. I think ours as well is when we get some success around the football side. Yeah. So like this year we've partnered with a local because we know, like we spoke about, it's a pipe dream to get into Charlton's academy or Charlton's first team. So we've now got an offer where young players can go into semi-professional non-league football at Kent League level, Scaffold Prem. They've got a reserves and an under-18s. So to see this year where you have players that hadn't really played much grassroots football improve and then go and play for a men's reserve team, that's also really rewarding. And again, do you want to go train with the reserves? No. We'll come along with you. We'll put the boots on and join in playing football. And then suddenly they're like, oh, it's all right, I could do this. So there's, from the football side, those little bits, those really moments really kind of hit home as well. That because what happens at 18, they're going to go somewhere, but they're still going to play.
Yes.
And they understand now the ins and the outs of men's football and that confidence they get from going to a men's team and having a game at 7. Because I did that. You probably did that. At 16, I was thrown into men's football, wearing a silver and blue Valsport boots, getting kicked all over the place. I walked straight in, still in mum and dad. I went, Dad, I need black boots. I'm not wearing them ever again.
No.
Battered. Black boots,
Because you do get battered,
Oh, the boys, they turn up in these yellows, pinks. I'm like, you're not playing men's football. How do you know? Because you wouldn't be wearing them boots. No chance.
Done and dusted. So, this is, as we said earlier on, this is massively, these are unique times. So, your students are still on the course and students progressing, students are leaving. Is there any sort of message you can give them from working from home and sort of keeping that whole, what's the word I want? That whole impetus, that whole, keeping us up the fire going to go, do you know what? In September, hopefully we're going to come back to Charlton and we're going to be doing our stuff. Is there any message you can give out to your learners and just to keep focused?
Look, and we've spoke to our learners. We've been really kind of quite proactive at Charlton in having weekly isolation chats and sessions. And obviously, look, we've had meetings today about how we can get players back in a couple of weeks. As we do this, it's June 8th. Hopefully, what is the date? June 3rd. We're hopeful that 15th, 22nd we'll be out and about. But look, it's about staying disciplined and staying patient. And I'm having to do, and this is what I've said to a couple of players, like a couple of boys at 16, stay disciplined and stay patient because it will come to an end. And I'm having to say that to myself as well. I'm finding a lot of days where I'm getting frustrated, a lot of days where I want to get back to the day job, but I'm out doing other things that I wouldn't normally do. But stay disciplined, keep your standards, and stay patient because it will end. And look, it will end, but it'll be different. Of course, it'll be different. One of them said to me, well, when will we play a league game again? I can't answer that. But what I can say is we'll probably get you on the grass before the end of June, and we'll be able to see it. And we've got players waiting to come next year, players that want to come and trial, and we want to see them so we know because we're going to have 4 squads next year.
Wow,
we're going to be touching 100 players. We've got 3 classrooms next year. We've just got an extra 4G. The academy are giving us their 4G for a couple of sessions. So we've gone and the pandemic's probably helped that because kids are going, right, I've got to Charlton because it's local and I don't want to travel and that kind of thing. So we've got to make that count, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we're saying as a team is keep discipline, keep your standards, and keep patient because we'll get there.
Discipline, standards, and patience. I think that's the mark of success in everywhere you go, innit? Your discipline, your standards, and your patience, because it's a long journey, but you've got to keep standards up and go, do you know what? I'm not going to cut corners, and don't always say no. That's Yeah, spot on. I love that. Love that. All right, Michael, do you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure having a chat with you. And it's been really good. And hopefully our students, all across the country with SEL are going to take some stuff out for it. All it's left to me is just shake your hand like we always do this on there. Okay? That's my favourite bit. I think there should be some sort of thing there to do it. Hopefully we'll meet up in the future and we can have a proper shout out. So Michael, well, thank you very much. And stay tuned because next week we'll have somebody else. I don't know who that's going to be yet, but it could be anybody. It could be you. We'll see. And easy peasy. All right. Thank you very much.